And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fleming Film Show with me, Robbie Fleming. And joining me, as always, is a lovely man from LA, Mr. Justin Doyle. Hello, Justin.
Lovely man from LA. Hey, what's up, Rob? How you
Not
doing?
much, not much. I thought I would return the favour this week because we spoke about British comedy movies. I thought we'd go down to your end of the pond and talk about American comedy movies.
Yes, a little more fruitful for me, unfortunately, meaning like I don't get around to the British comedies as much. But as you can tell, when doing research, there's definitely just a lot more. And we've seen a lot of these. I mean, there's just more lists and there's more variety, it feels like, but so much, in fact, that we're going to do 10 this week instead of just five.
Yes, because my list grew and so did yours. I couldn't just limit it down to five because there are so many American comedy movies I can just rewatch. There are some American comedies I just don't get, but I do love the ones that involve slapstick and like parody and all the stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely.
And some of these are just like films
Um,
I could just watch on repeat. I could stick them on the TV right now and
yeah.
I could just put it on in the background, just have a good time, even just by doing something.
Yeah, actually, I kind of wish that, as much fun as podcasting is and talking with you about movies, I kind of wish I was just watching these right now, because they're so much fun and they're such great comedies. But we'll get to talk about them. Yeah, I tried to do one movie per main comedian or comic actor or
Yeah.
actress. Because I didn't, Jim Carrey is my favorite actor and favorite comedian actor. So it would be boring if I just sat here and did seven straight Jim Carrey movies. So I have a mix of them, and I
I,
actually
I'm
don't
I'm the
think
same with Adam Sandler movies as well, because I love Adam Sandler, but I couldn't have like a full list of Adam Sandler movies on here.
right. And actually, I don't believe there's been one movie that has been on any of their list. I try to keep it stuff that I haven't talked about. So as
Yeah,
much as I love Friday, it's not on there. I also think Friday, I don't think of Friday as like a comedy movie in general. I just think of it as like it has all action, drama, comedy, romance. So it's one that has it all. But yeah, my number one is definitely my favorite comedy of all time, and yeah, in my top five favorite movies. So we will
excellent.
discuss that later. But yeah, so you have 11. So do you want to? Because you have a tie. Do you want to start?
Yes, my tie does not go into the top of the list, but if you want me to start, I'm going to go with one from a very diverse director, but he is known for making comedy movies. This is Mr. Rob Reiner, and this is my favourite American rom com, so I like to kick it off with a rom com, and it's When Harry Met Sally.
Ooh, yes. Tell us about this.
So Billy Crystal plays Harry, Meg Ryan plays Sally, and they start off like hating each other. They become friends because they're trying to prove this point that a man and a woman can be friends without being like in a relationship or being like sexual with each other. At the end, they kind of ruin the point, but overall, this is still a great, fun, and silly comedy film. Are you gonna have what
Yeah,
she's having, Justin?
I will definitely have what she's having. Yeah, Billy Crystal was somebody that I just loved watching growing up. And this is a classic. This is a classic line in the whole film lore, and just a good rom com.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
think
And I
I
do
think
credit both the ladies in this movie, Meg Ryan, of course, but Carrie Fisher's fantastic in this film as well.
yes. Yeah, Meg Ryan. I mean, there was nobody better. The writer's Nora Ephron, who became a successful writer director for rom coms as well. But I think this movie, even if you haven't seen it, you for sure have heard of it. This is one of those movies that is always talked about and discussed because of how great it is, and the chemistry between the two main actors are phenomenal, and the director sure knew what he was doing. So good pick for When
He,
Harry
he
Met
got he
Sally.
got he got four really good comedic performances out of the four actors: Billy, Bruno, Carrie, and Meg, of course.
Yes. Yeah, this actually you can stream it on HBO Max right now. Came out in 1989.
I don't know what service
Uh,
it's on in the UK, but yeah, if you can find it on a service or at your local CEX or HMV or any video or charity shop, watch it. It's hilarious.
Nominated for Best Screenplay.
And it's a bloody good one too.
Yeah, did pretty well. Budget was 16 million. Worldwide gross was 93.2 million. 7.7 on IMDb, and Rotten Tomatoes gives it 91% with the audience close behind at 89.
Nice. It's a pretty
Not,
lovable movie then.
yeah, oh yeah. All right. My number 10 is one that's very, very controversial. But if you can sort of see it for what it was and when it was, and kind of get past some of.
Justin?
So there's a lot. Yeah, you got me?
Yeah, I got you. I got you. You blacked out for a little
Okay,
bit.
cool. Yeah, sorry, a phone call came through. But anyway, so if you can sort of get past some of the stuff that's being said in this movie, it is a hilarious movie and one that is definitely in the top 50, I'd say, of comedies of all time for people. Nominated for 3 Oscars, and this movie came out in 1974, and the director-writer is Mr. Mel Brooks, starring Gene Wilder in its Blazing Saddles.
That appears
This is a
that
racy
appears
rush.
on my list later on.
Okay, cool. Yeah. This is a very, very racy, raunchy movie. Lots of racism in its things that would not fly today in any sort of landscape. Also, Mel Brooks dressing up as Native American. And yeah, there's stuff all over that. But if you know Mel Brooks, you know his comedy. This is nothing new, and that's the reason why it sings so well. Is because this is one of his better ones. You know, Spaceballs is great. Young Frankenstein's phenomenal, but Blazing Saddles, you know, to me is just it's just a lot of fun. Plus, there's a peek behind the curtain of how to make movies, and you know, it's just a big old Western spoof, and it's just a lot of fun. And Gene Wilder gives the performance of a lifetime in this movie. He's just one of the greatest of all time. Let's see, the nominations that it had was Best Actress in a Supporting Role for Madeline Kahn, Film Editing, and Best Music, Mel Brooks for Blazing Saddles, the song. But yeah, Madeline Kahn's always amazing, deserve it of. I mean, that should just tell you in this sort of context of a movie, the woman is getting the nomination here. Madeline Kahn is just amazing. But you have more to say about it, so we'll chat more about it later on.
Yes. As I was going to say, Mel Brooks, out of all the comedy directors you have brought us, Mel Brooks is definitely the best.
Oh my gosh, there's nobody better.
Nobody else can top his comedies.
Yeah, I'd like to see. I know he's getting up there in age. I'd like to see him do another one before we never see him again. But I also, the producers is one that was almost going to make the list. That also with Gene Wilder, Mel Brooks, but I just needed to put in one that actually has a lot of humor to it, not just the music that I love. So, number 10 for me is Blazing Saddles.
You ready for my number 9?
Hit me.
I have spoken about this a couple of times, but I like a funny road trip movie, and nothing's funnier, but has heart and soul than Little Miss Sunshine.
Yes. Tell us about it.
So Olive wants to run in this pageant. It's the Little Miss Sunshine pageant. Her granddad has been coaching her through it, although he is also dealing with a addiction to heroin. And this family is just a mess. You have the dad, who's Greg Kinnear, who always like wants to win. He's just this massive asshole who just wants to win. You have Toni Collette, who steals the show in this movie as a mum. She's trying to balance everything else, and she's a massive stress head. You have Steve Carell, who plays her brother, who's trying to get over his sexuality and is trying to also recover from a suicide attempt. And then you have Paul Dano, another Steam sealer, whose goal is to be a pilot. There's a really good twist to his character later on, and he's taken this vow of silence till he gets to where he is. But yeah, the family just go on this really weird road trip full of tragedy and nonsense, and just everything just going wrong on the way. Like nothing goes right in this movie. When they get to the pageant, it gets even funnier.
Yes, this is a real funny movie with a lot of dark This is a dark comedy. It has a lot of darkness.
Well, you always got to make fun of the dark side of life.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. There's always light in darkness. Nominated for 4 Academies, 1, 2. Which 2?
Alan Arkin won for Best Supporting Actor, and he also won Best Screenplay.
Original Screenplay, yeah. Also nominated for Best Picture, and Abigail Breslin, who was so great in it, got nominated for her role for supporting.
Although I loved Jennifer Hudson in Dreamgirls too much to say she should have won.
Yeah, I mean, that was the performance of a lifetime. Plus, being introduced to 2 powerhouses, because Abigail, this is like our first time really seeing her. They both deserve the nomination. So
definitely.
This one's also on HBO Max, 7.8 on IMDb.
And this is on Disney Plus in the UK.
Nice. Only $8 million budget, but a worldwide gross is $101 million. That's phenomenal. And the Rotten Tomatoes and the audience agree at 91%.
Definitely.
Great movie.
Yes.
Performance heavy.
Yes.
And then also the writing is incredible, obviously.
Yes.
The movie itself is just beautiful. All right. My number 9 is a lot of fun. This is I love this comedic actor. So there's a lot of movies I could have picked that he's in, but this one, he's definitely the lead in it. And he shines in it, not only because he's hilarious, but also because he's a fun performer lyrically and musically. This one directed by Richard Linklater, and the writer Mike White wrote this, starring Jack Black, and it's School of Rock.
Excellent choice.
Jack Black is hilarious in this movie just because he's such a goof. He's only driven one way, and that's towards music, and he lies and pretends that he is a substitute teacher, and instead of teaching him,
best friend,
right, which is the writer Mike White, who stars in it, also starring Sarah Silverman and Joan Cusack. But instead of teaching them what he should be teaching them, he teaches them to become a band and rock out so they can win some money at one of the festivals there. Competition shows. But yeah, Jack Black is just so great. What a perfect sort of goof to keep the movie rolling, and there's great music in it, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, every character gets to be fun and goofy, and everyone has a great time in this. But yeah, Joan Cusack is kind of like the straight edge, but Jack Black kind of loosens her up. And Sarah Silverman is the asshole girlfriend who just yells at him all the time. But
Richard, one of the funniest women in America.
Absolutely, yeah. Richard Linklater being the director of this is really, surprising. He doesn't have
He's an amazing director.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like he doesn't do straight up comedies anymore, but when he does just do straight up comedy movies, he really shines. I think this is a proof of that. And yeah, this movie's gone on huge
He
success.
sounds like he's good friends with Jack Black, so I know they've worked together a lot.
Right. But yeah, it's huge success. Even became a Broadway show and did really, really well.
And the
So,
Nickelodeon show as well.
oh yeah, there you go. You like this movie?
Yeah, I love it. It didn't make my list because I've completely forgot about it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I do like watching this movie quite a lot because it introduced me to rock and roll and stuff.
yeah, in a fun way. You know, it's like we were learning as the kids were learning, and it just became quite a delight.
Yes,
It's
one of my one of an actress I like is in it, Miranda Cosgrove.
Miranda Cosgrove. Okay.
He,
Yeah,
he-
lots. Oh yeah, there she is. A lot of she played Summer. Yeah,
yeah, she
yeah, a
at the
lot of
kids
young
she
kids in
steals the
this.
show.
Hmm. Adam Pascal's in it, who was the main lead guy in the movie Rent and on Broadway. All right. 7.2 on IMDb, which is fantastic for comedy like that. Budget was 35 million. Worldwide gross is 131 million. 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. However, the audience gives it a 64, which I very much disagree with.
Everybody's a critic nowadays. You can't have qualified critics anymore. That's why me and you do this stuff.
Yeah, we just like to chat about them.
Yeah.
Cool. What's your number 8?
My number 8 is from one of my all-time favorite comedy actors ever, Mr. Adam Sandler. I could have picked loads of Adam Sandler movies, but the one that sticks with me as his best comedy movie to date is Happy Gilmore.
Hmm. Good choice.
Happy Gilmore is a hockey player. He's kind of been rejected from his hockey team, but he's trying to save his grandmother's house from being bulldozed down because she's forgotten to pay her taxes. And she's moved into this horrible care home run by Ben Stiller, who is an absolute knobhead to her.
My fingers hurt. Well, now your back's gonna hurt because you just got garden duty.
Yeah, but the men who's helping her move out see that Happy has a talent for golf, so he starts taking up this golf. He meets this old golf pro played by the legendary Carl Weathers, who you might know from The Mandalorian or Rocky or Predator.
No. Is, is he in Star Wars?
Yeah, he's in The Mandalorian.
No, but isn't he? Is he in any of the old Star Wars movies?
No, he's just in The Mandalorian.
Gotcha.
Yes. And he teaches him how to be a pro golfer. He ends up winning this local championship and becoming like a really good golfer, being on the pro tour. And he just does some really funny things. He even has to hire this homeless man whose wife is cleaning his car to be his caddy.
Yeah.
And he has and then the top golfer on the tour. He sees him as an embarrassment to the sport. Christopher McDonald is phenomenal in this role. Yeah,
Shoot him, McGavin. Shoot him.
Shooter McGavin. So yeah, and during one tournament where he teams up with Bob Barker, the old US co-host on The Price Is Right. He gets the guy from Back to the Future Part 2, the one that hands Marty the thing at the end of the film, to start calling him a jackass, and he really messes up this round. He ends up getting into a fight with Barker, and then he realizes that he has to keep successing through this tournament in order to get his grandma's house back. This film also got me into Subway.
I absolutely love this movie. Yeah. Julie Bowen's in it as well. She's the
That's her
mom
name.
in Modern Family. But yeah,
Yes, and
Christopher McDonald is so funny in this movie. I'm gonna eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. You eat pieces of shit for breakfast? Uh, and yeah, of course, legendary Bob Barker. I think it's his only film credit, but killed it. Um, yeah, I mean, my number seven is an Adam Sandler movie as well, so we'll talk about that in a minute. And yeah, I mean, it could have gone either way with the one I chose and this one. So, Happy Gilmore is hilarious, and I completely agree with everything that you said. Really, really fun. Kevin Nealon's also in this movie.
he's great.
Uh, yeah, this is just I mean, there was in the mid to late '90s was like the best comedy era ever with Adam Sandler and Jim
Yeah.
Carrey. I mean, just making such great films. But yeah, this movie is a 7.0 on IMDb. Budget was 12 million. Worldwide gross was 41 million. 61% from Rotten Tomatoes, but audience 85.
I know my new favorite golf film has became The Phantom of the Open, but Happy Gilmore is just a film I could just put on right now and just have a good time to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean,
Tin
I can
Cup's
do that
also a
with
great
Phantom
call.
of the Open, but I have a different more feelings towards Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, seen it so many more times. Speaking of seeing a movie so many more times, this is the movie that came out right before Happy Gilmore, starring Adam Sandler, and it's called Billy Madison. I love this movie. I've seen it just 100 million times. It's silly, you really just wanted to be him and just kind of have fun and like play with daddy's money all the time. But then when he goes and has to go through, so he never finished.
Today, Junior.
He never finished his high school, so he has to go back and do every grade over again. And he is a child. I mean, he just acts just like every other kid who's in this movie. I fell in love with Bridget Wilson in this movie. She's so beautiful as Veronica Vaughn. But yeah, this Bradley Whitford's in this movie.
Oh,
Norm Macdonald.
he's a fantastic actor. He is.
Yes. And yeah, he just has a lot of fun messing around, trying to hit on teachers, and it's very juvenile, very for a 10, 11, 12 year old just loving this movie, but doesn't mean that it's the smartest of all comedies, but it is a lot of fun.
This also stars Steve Buscemi and Chris Farley, who also make funny appearances in this.
Chris Farley, yep, absolutely. Yeah, so many quotable lines. Just a classic comedy. You can watch it on Bravo now, whatever Bravo now, if you have that. 6.3 on IMDb with a $10 million budget. Worldwide gross is 26.4. And on IMDb, it is. On Rotten Tomatoes, it is 41% with the audience giving it a 79. Come on, people! You just don't know comedy anymore.
No, they don't.
You like Billy
I like
Madison's
Billy
good,
Madison,
right?
not as much as Happy Gilmore. I do
Yeah.
find it a bit too silly at times, and I don't like when Adam Sandler does that really weird voice he does, because he's done it in Waterboy, Little Nicky, and Hubie Halloween. And after obviously seeing his career progress with Punch Drunk Love, Uncut Gems, and Hustle, I kind of want him to just be Adam Sandler trying to be more of a human being rather than a silly child man.
Yeah, but it's cool to see his progression and see him grow through all these years, because this is
Definitely.
1995. Yeah, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
just a lot of fun.
he's gone a long way. I mean, I know his career's been up and down throughout like the late 2000s, early 2010s, but he's back and we've got him right where we want to be. Like Adam Sandler making good movies again.
Yep, and look out for Murder Mystery 2.
Yes, and the Spaceman film he's doing with Kerry Mulligan. That sounds interesting.
Oh, Spaceman, nice. All right, what's your number 6?
My number 7, don't you mean?
Sure.
Yeah. My number 7 is a superhero movie. And the one I count the most as a comedy is this 2016 one, which really made Ryan Reynolds shine. Okay, I'm cheating a little bit here because he's Canadian, but this is an American production, so it counts, and it's Deadpool.
Yes. Probably the funniest superhero movie.
Yes. Yes.
What happens in
Deadpool.
Deadpool?
So Deadpool is this mercenary who's been diagnosed with cancer, and he's trying to find a way to make him survive cancer. He teams up with this shady businessman played by Ed Skerritt, and he does this dodgy experiment on him, which causes cancer, which makes him immortal, but badly makes the tumor affect his skin, so he looks ugly. And he starts operating as a superhero called Deadpool, and he's named Deadpool because his friend, played by T.J. Miller, has a Deadpool, and his name was top of the list because he had cancer. So yeah, and this is part of the original X-Men universe. This is the first one after Days of Future Past, so it exists in the new timeline they create from that film.
Yeah, I mean everything from the beginning credits to the end credits is comedy, and they know they're making fun of themselves, and they have a good time. And I don't think anybody was better fit for this character than Ryan Reynolds. Just classic. I mean, I love when a movie can be something we've kind of seen before, but feel like a classic.
Definitely, and this is a classic. This also has what's her name? She's really beautiful.
Marina Baccarin.
Marina Baccarin. She is a bit controversial at the moment, but she's also a Mandalorian actress, Gina Caruso. Is that her name?
Toronto,
that's it. And then you also have Colossus and Nega, some Teenage Warhead, Karen, Sonny, and obviously
TJ Miller. Yeah, TJ Miller also has some beef against him right now too, so it's a little bit of controversial cast.
At least Ryan Reynolds isn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he just needs to not come out that he's a cannibal. Deadpool has a rating of 8.0 on IMDb.
Ooh.
Budget was $58,782.8 million. Its worldwide gross. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a certified fresh at 85%, with the audience giving it 90.
Nice.
Very nice.
Nice. What's your number 7?
You know what's good about most of these movies and comedies in general is that they're usually a brisk hour and a half.
Yes.
You know? Deadpool is a little bit longer, an hour and 48, but yeah, it's not. It's also an action comedy.
Is like 2 hours and a half.
Is it? Yeah, anything like an hour and 40 and under is good for comedies. As is this one that comes in at my number 7. This one actually a little bit later in the years. Not as early as in the 90s, but superior cast, even one led by somebody who's not around anymore, but her friends and cohorts are. They're still around making some great movies, and we love them. This movie is a female-led movie. Came out in 2004, starring Lindsay Lohan, Rachel McAdams, Amanda Seyfried, Lacey Chabert, and it's Mean Girls.
Love Mean Girls. Love
yeah.
Mean Girls.
Yeah. I had to put some ladies in here because they deserve it. This movie is hilarious. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's
Lindsay Lohan's still
I
alive, if you realise.
no, I know, but she's not around making movies like Rachel McAdams is, and like Amanda Seyfried is, and Lacey Chabert
Yeah.
is living it up on the Hallmark Lifetime channels.
Oh,
Um,
because I only
but
know Lacey from this and that she used to do a voice in Family Guy.
she was on Party of Five to start.
Nice.
Uh, but yeah, also Amy Poehler's in this movie, and
Love
Tina
Amy
Fey,
Poehler.
who wrote it.
They're best friends and
Uh,
they both done Pixar movies.
no, that's right. But yeah, this is just about a girl who this is high school. It's a girl. She, wants to be a plastic, which is what Rachel McAdams' group is, and she sort of runs it. And they're just your stereotypical, popular kids, and think that they're better than everybody else and wear the right stuff, and you're gross if you wear this. And so they make a burn book, and that burn book is bad things about girls and people in their school, and it becomes available, and all hell sort of breaks loose. And yeah, I mean, this is just a slice of life comedy, being in high school and teenage girls. Yeah, I mean, Lindsay Lohan, this is probably one of her better performances, even comedically as well. But also, yeah, we got to see Rachel McAdams have a lot of fun in this, and it introduced us to Amanda Seyfried, who we all love and adore now.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's
So
just
as I
it's
was
just a
telling
fun
my
movie.
friend the other day, since doing Mank, Amanda Seyfried's tried to progress her career, and so far she's doing really well. The Dropout was meant to be really good.
Yeah, she's got a great career, and she was hilarious in this as being sort of a ditzy blonde girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, Anna Gasteyer is also in this movie, and Tim Meadows, um, Neil Flynn, who was on Scrubs. But yeah, this is
You
just
forgot about one of my favourites in this film, Lizzie Kaplan.
Lizzie Kaplan. Yes, her, and Daniel Damien and Janice were hilarious in this.
Yes, yes,
Really, really fun. This is sort of like they were Lindsay Lohan's sort of friends that were unpopular. Um,
yes, yes.
but it's a hilarious movie, lots of fun. Spawned a Broadway show, spawned a number two, but I don't think did really well, and we didn't have our friends back from the first, but still a great movie. Mean Girls is my number 7. 7.1 on IMDb. Box office was 17 million. Worldwide gross is 130 million. 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. However, the audience gives it 66.
Yes, and you know how much I love this movie, as I've spoken about it in the past. This is my favourite film with Rich McAdams, and her performance is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes.
I
All right.
rewatched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness today. She's great in the Doctor Strange movies, but she's always been better outside the franchise as just one-off movies like this and Spotlight.
Right. I rewatched Shang-Chi and had a great time.
Yeah,
I
that
think I
one.
even liked it more on the second viewing.
Well, that one has a phenomenal performance by Tony Leung.
Excuse me. Yes, that is true. But what I realized in this one is he's a bad dad. Very, very bad dad.
He is a bad dad.
All right. What's your number 6?
My number 6 is another fellow Canadian, Mr. Jim Carrey. I have to include one of his 3 films from 1994. And my favourite of these 3 is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about it.
Ace Ventura: Pet Detective is a detective who searches for missing pets for money. And he is hired to find the missing mascot of the Miami Dolphins. And he gets led into this murder case and ends up in these different conspiracies.
I love this movie so much.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not a better comedy performance than by a single man or female than him as Ace Ventura in the first one. The second one's fun, but it's definitely not the first. And he, I mean, it's just iconic, iconic. Yeah. I again, I could only have one Jim Carrey movie on my list, so this would have been on it had I had to. But this is
yes.
it's tough to have off because it's so great. So many classic lines in this. Courtney Cox is also in the same year as she started Friends. Um, Udo Kier's in this as well, who's we still know from movies. He's still working out there. Tom Shadyac was the director of this movie.
He
He
sounds like
also
a good
did,
friend of Carey's if he's directed a lot of films by him.
yeah. He also did The Nutty Professor and Bruce
Ooh.
Almighty Liar
I know this
Liar.
film
Yeah.
has a controversial ending because it's looked as transphobic in modern age, but at the end of the day, you can't really take a Jim Carrey movie seriously, can you?
No, but you know what though? Those guys technically got hashtag Me Too, right? Swindled into it, sort of way.
Yeah,
Because if you're pretending that you're a woman for a guy to get into your pants or whatever, and then they find out you're a guy, that's false. That's giving off false pretenses. You can say you're a guy up front, and if they want to be with you, great, but no surprises, all right?
yeah,
uh,
no surprises, no surprises.
and nobody would ever think that that's a guy, right? Ever. It's a woman.
It's played by a woman anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So that, I mean, anyway,
Yeah.
fantastic film. I love all the way from the beginning with the Shih Tzu to the end at the stadium is a fantastic film. 6.9 on IMDb. Box office or budget was 15 million. Worldwide gross is 107.2 million. Rotten Tomatoes. There you are. This movie also had Dan Marino in it, legendary dolphin. 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, 57 audience score. Get out of here. It's pretty much perfect.
Probably millennials that can't take a joke.
I don't like that at all. All right. My number 6 is another fun movie, really silly, but co-stars two gentlemen that were in a few movies together, comedy movies. This one just happens to be the funniest, in my opinion. Lots of classic lines, lots of classic scenes, including 10 reboot, because we have a lovely, sexy Bo Derek coming out of the pool in a movie starring Chris Farley and David Spade, and it's called Tommy Boy.
You mentioned this one before. Tell us about it again.
Was it Road Trip?
Yes.
Was it okay? Yeah, Road Trip. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's Tommy Boy. It's Chris Farley. His dad isn't around anymore, and his stepmother is now trying to take over the company. But he wants to keep the company going because they sell brake pads. And so they go on a trip to different companies and try to sell brake pads and keep it alive, keep the family business alive. And lots of antics happen along the way. Chris Farley obviously is not a salesman. He's just a big oaf who just walks into walls and tears up jackets and call a fat guy in a little coat. Just a lot of fun. David Spade's the sort of straight man, but has great classic lines in it as well. But Chris Farley is the one who steals the show, and he's one of the all-time greatest comedic actors and pratfallers, and just one that would probably still be killing it had he been alive still. But yeah, also starring Dan Aykroyd, and oh boy, what's his name from Parks and Recreation?
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe, yes.
I love Rob Lowe.
Yes, and Bo Derek. I did when I was doing a lot of background work in San Diego. They did what they call American telenovelas, and she co-starred in one. And I was on that show a bunch, and so I've crossed paths with her a lot.
Nice.
Had a couple of conversations. She's very sweet. But budget one worldwide gross is 32 million, 7.1 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes gives it 41%, but the audience is a 90. Black Sheep is also a funny movie, not as funny as Tommy Boy, but also stars Chris Farley and David Spade. And my dad took us to that movie, and he should not have, because it's not for young kids like that. But anyway, Tommy Boy is my number 6. Do you seen this one?
No, I've been meaning to since you first told me about it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Good stuff.
Yeah. You won't like my number 5 pick.
Uh-oh. Why?
Because one of my favorite modern American comedy directors is Adam McKay. I didn't want to pick Don't Look Up, so I picked his second funniest movie, and it's one with another couple who worked together multiple times, and this is their funniest movie. It's Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly at Step Brothers.
Yes, this was on a lot of people's lists. Tell us about Step Brothers.
So Richard Jenkins is John C. Reilly's dad, Mary Dean Burgeon. Again, them two worked together quite a lot.
Yeah.
They're in Nightmare Alley.
Nightmare Alley.
Yes, recently. And yes. They get married, fall in love, and they have obviously a child each, who are grown men who are just kind of slackers, but he wants to be a singer, Will Ferrell, and he wants to be a drummer. They start off like wanting to punch each other and like destroy each other, but then they kind of decide they kind of start connecting, they become friends, and then they decide that with their talents they want to open up a music company. And Adam Scott is the perfect villain in a comedy movie. He's Will Ferrell's younger, more successful brother, and he has a scene that introduces him and his family, and he really shows that he's this uptight, rich asshole who abuses his family. And this is while they're doing a karaoke session of Guns N' Roses a cappella, and you know him, and you know what character he's going to be like during this one scene, and like I said, I know you and a couple of other people I know find this movie just dumb and silly, but I like the cleverness to it of why it's silly. And another comedy man has a cameo in this, Mr. Seth Rogen, who is also Canadian.
I just prefer. Yes, I don't really care for it, and even in first view or second view, but yeah, I like Ricky Bobby a little bit more. If I were to pick the two that are the two leads, but
I never watched the Holmes and Watson movie because I heard that was terrible.
It's a little tough, but every movie's worth the one view.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Adam McKay, co-wrote this with Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
You can tell Adam McKay's the more talented writer than Will Ferrell, obviously.
Yeah, very much. Andrea Savage is also in this movie. Yes. She's hilarious. Step Brothers, they butt heads and then they come together because they need to, because the parents love each other. But they do act like childs the entire time. It's pretty much like Billy Madison and just kids all over again. Yeah. That to me is a little unrealistic. I don't really see it happening, which is the reason why I have such a huge,
Yeah, but films
issue with
don't
it.
have to be realistic. It's called fiction for a reason. If you want an autobiography, watch a documentary.
I know, but if you want me to buy into a story, make it a little more realistic, even if it's fake. I know that this is one of my huge issues with Marvel is like in these fake worlds, I'm sitting there going, yeah, right. And it's like, well, it's a fake world, you know? So, but this did pretty well. 65 million was its budget. 128.1 was its worldwide gross. 6.9 on IMDb. 55% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes and 69% for the audience.
So even
With
though Who Framed Roger Rabbit is like a world with toons and humans, do you think that could work on a realistic level?
no, no, it doesn't. But I bought into the world. You know, they did it right. They made me understand the world that I was living in. I don't understand 40-year-old men acting like children. I don't care if you live with your parents. I don't care how old you are. You can live with your parents for life. But when you're an adult, you act like an adult. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of acting like children, this movie is it's tons of fun. It's an old school classic movie, also a sports movie, um, directed by a great comedian actor. This one stars Chevy Chase, Rodney Dangerfield, Bill Murray. Came out in 1980, and it's Caddyshack.
I've always wanted to watch that.
It is so freaking funny. This is one that my dad would have on, and I actually didn't mind sitting there watching with him. That's the reason why I love movies, because my mom and my dad watched so many, but they had such different tastes in movies that I would just watch everything. And this was one of the fun ones because comedy. It also had some naked ladies in it, so I was into that when I was younger. Yeah, the comedic performance here is Rodney Dangerfield. Also, Bill Murray. Bill Murray is fantastic in this movie. Not in it a lot, but he's chasing around a gopher the entire movie. Again, it's you got to buy into the world because this gopher dances and is a lot of trickery. Chevy Chase is also really funny in this movie, but yeah, Rodney Dangerfield is just himself. He does pretty much his stand-up in
The
the.
Bill Murray film is later on my list.
Oh, cool. Rodney Dangerfield's pretty much just doing his act, but on the greens of the golf course, and it's just hilarious. Some people think that golf is boring, but as we've proven already, Happy Gilmore is hilarious, and Caddyshack is, to me, the funniest golf movie there is. And it's because of the old school comedic performances. Chevy Chase and Bill Murray were huge at this time, and Rodney Dangerfield, always at the top of his game.
I want to watch
Ted,
more golf movies so I can do a top 5 golf films one day.
yes, you should. Ted Knight is also in this movie, and Brian Doyle Murray, who we've seen a bunch. And like I said, Harold Ramis is the director of this movie, and it's just perfection. Very much rated R, so don't show the kiddies. But yeah, there's nudity and lots of swearing and sexual innuendos. Budget of $6 million, worldwide gross is 39.8, 7.2 on IMDb, 72% Rotten Tomatoes, and 87% audience score. Love me some Caddyshack.
You ready for my number 4, or do you want to do the ratings first?
No, I do. I'm good.
Sweet. My number 4, I had to pick one animated film to make this list a bit more fair. So it was my all-time favorite animated film because this has comedy in, and the comedy is gold because it's from Billy Crystal and John Goodman, and it's Monsters, Inc.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about Monsters, Inc.
So Mike and Sully are these two best friends who've known each other for years. In one film, they met at university, but Mike mentions that they've known each other since third grade, so I don't know what to believe. But the point of the story is they both work at this energy plant where they use screams for energy. They scream kids. It's Sully's job to scream the kids, and Mike's got to train him up to do his job right. He's his assistant. And what I love about this movie is the best friendship and how it puts their friendship on the stakes when something happens. And what happens is one of the children sneaks into the factory, and it's their job to try and get her back home. I could talk about this film all day.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that the world's
on the list, but I think the other ones I've listed above are like better quality in terms of writing and filmmaking. But yeah, Monsters Inc. is just another film I could just put on right now and just laugh my head off to. I'm not big on Monsters University, but I like the show Monsters at Work, which is also hilarious and a good little thing that wraps the ending up and expands on it more.
Yeah, I like that they flipped the world on this, where monsters are just normal and humans are the ones that are alien-like.
Yeah.
But they do a great job of trying to figure out how to deal with it, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of crazy antics, great duo comedy here. They're a great duo, and like you said, it has a sequel and also a TV show, and it's a ride at Disneyland. It does a lot in sales of merchandise. Also, Steve Buscemi, Jennifer Tilly, John Ratzenberger, they're all voices in this movie.
Yes.
And directed and written by Pete Docter, who's a great Disney.
Yes, he's the top dog at Pixar now.
Yeah, he's great. This is huge. $115 million was his budget. It's $579.7 million is its worldwide gross. 8.1 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes gives it.
I saw this like 3 times in the cinema. It was that good, and I was just a little kid. And this is the movie that got me into films and filmmaking, made me want to be a filmmaker.
Yeah, it's really good. I watched it a couple times in theaters too. 96% of Rotten Tomatoes, 90% audience score, unfortunately. But really good choice, and yeah, I like that one a lot.
Nice.
All right, my number 4.
Do you have an animated film on your list today?
I don't. No, but if South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut's a great animated comedy. Also, you can kind of say Team America: World Police as well. But no, I don't think I haven't never laughed like I've laughed at these movies. At a cartoon movie, I don't think animated movie. Maybe this Simpsons. I don't know. No. Oh, Shrek. Maybe Shrek. I could have had Shrek on there. Shrek was funny to me.
The first 2 are masterpieces.
Speaking of hilarity, this movie stars an ensemble of hilarious ladies. That's right. I'm going back to the ladies because this movie is on everyone's tops. It is deserved and even spawned Oscar nomination for their performance in this movie. I'm talking about 2011's, directed by Paul Feig, and it's Bridesmaids.
I love Bridesmaids.
Coming in at 2 hours and 5 minutes. You're right. This is the longest of all the movies so far. But yeah, this is starring Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph and Rose Byrne, Rebel Wilson, Melissa McCarthy, and yeah. So this is like Kristen Wiig is jealous her friends getting married.
Because 2 famous British comedic actors who are both from famous British comedy shows are in this: Matt Lucas and Chris O'Dowd.
Yeah, Chris O'Dowd's great. Terry Crews is also in this, but yeah, Kristen Wiig is Bridesmaids, and she's just kind of there's like this battle going on between who's the better girl for the job. Is it Kristen Wiig? Is it Rose Byrne? But Maya Rudolph's getting married, and Kristen Wiig just really doesn't have her life together, and she's kind of figuring it out as she goes along. She loves to bake and be a pastry chef, even if it's just for herself, which is a hilarious scene where she just does all this work for one cupcake. But yeah, the star in this movie is Melissa McCarthy. She steals the show. She's just absolutely, she's like Chris Farley. You know, we just talked about him
Shame that
earlier
her
with Tommy
career
Boy.
has gone downhill since.
Yeah, she's not been nominated. Oh, was she nominated for Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Yeah, but I'm talking about stuff like Thunder Force.
Oh, I know. Comedically, it's definitely gone downhill. Yeah, she's this is her peak as far as comedy goes. But she's a fantastic actress, and also did really well on Mike and Molly TV show. But yeah, this is just an ensemble comedy romp, and it's led by women, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's like you said, you liked it too. Everyone loves this movie. It's praised, and it's deserved of its praise. Budget of 32.5 million. Worldwide gross is 288. Rotten Tomatoes gives it 89%. Audience 76%. Yeah, that it came out in 2011 and just was the talk of the town for so long. But lots of fun. You can watch it on Peacock if you got the Peacock subscription.
Awesome. I think I have it on DVD somewhere.
Good one. All right. What's coming in for bronze?
A tie.
Ooh.
Between these two comedy films from 1998 made by some of the finest directors we have right now. I'm talking about Joel Cohen with The Big Lebowski and Wes Anderson for Rushmore. Which one do you want to talk about first, Lebowski or Rushmore?
All right, tell us. Yeah, let's do Lebowski because it gets a lot of chatter.
Yes, so The Big Lebowski is about Jeffrey Lebowski. He calls himself the Dude. He's a slacker who loves bowling and loves White Russians. And there is also a billionaire called Jeffrey Lebowski. And because the two get mixed up, the Dude kind of gets in a lot of shit. And he's got to get himself out of these shit, but obviously everything goes terribly, terribly wrong. All he wants to do is just get drunk and go bowling.
Smoke some weed.
And smoke weed, yes. Yes, but obviously he gets into these shenanigans and he's got to try and get himself out of there. And obviously this has a brilliant cast. Jeff Bridges is great. This is my favourite Jeff Bridges film. You have Steve Buscemi, Julianne Moore, Philip Seymour Hoffman, David Furis, Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Peter Stormare. There's somebody else.
John Turturro.
John Turturro is great. But let's just talk about the man who steals the show in this movie. John Goodman. He plays his best friend Walter, this angry Vietnam veteran. And all he wants to do is just help the dude with his shenanigans. And he makes the situation worse half the time, especially when he smashes up the car. That's probably the funniest scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, this it's a cult classic, one that didn't do well in the box office, but it just like When Harry Met Sally, I think if you say the name, even if you haven't seen it, people know the movie. You know, they know about it. It's a classic comedy. He just wants to drink White Russians, and it's 203 overall on IMDb, 8.1. Box office, it was a budget of 15 million. Worldwide gross is 46.9. However, 83% of Rotten Tomatoes, 93% for audience score.
Yes.
All right, and then tell us about Rushmore.
Rushmore is this kid who's not good academically, but he's really good at getting into these social clubs. And he falls in love with his teacher, and he's competing for one of his he's friends with a lot of older men, and this one friend he has, played by Bill Murray, is also fancies the teacher, and so they create this little rivalry that goes wrong. I know you've said a lot about this film being a bit inappropriate because of their age length, but I don't really see the film like that. I see it more like everybody's had a crush on a teacher, and this is what Wes Anderson was trying to do, and it's just a silly movie. This is definitely the funniest, although I prefer some of his other movies for being well written and well made with the production design and the acting. I think this is his funniest.
Yeah, I just recently watched it for the first time, I believe this year. This is the Bill Murray movie you were talking about, right?
Yes,
Yeah, who's just so great in this movie. I think he just fits so perfectly with it. Yeah, it's a silly movie, but Jason Schwartzman gives him its all. It's a lot of fun. Also starring Brian Cox.
he's great. He's always
Yeah,
great, Brian Cox.
yes, yes. Yeah, and Wes Anderson's iconic director. Known, this is sort of the movie where we see his style really start to
Yes,
form.
yes.
7.6 in IMDb. Box office was budget of 9 million. Worldwide gross is 17 million. Wes Anderson never really has high grossing. I guess Budapest is his biggest one. 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, 91% audience score. Killing it.
Definitely, he does kill it. What's your number three?
All right, my number three um, is a movie where it's sort of was a torch sort of passed on. There's a group of people that I'll talk about coming up soon, but it's a torch is passed, and the younger generation sort of got to have these sort of raunchy, fun comedies. And one that just I love to death, and I was introduced to two, no, not introduced, but definitely introduced to one. Actor who's not known for his comedy anymore, I'd say, but every time he is on the screen, he is really, really funny. Also, all-star cast that backs him of comedic actors. This movie is co-written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who have written a lot of movies, but this one is starring Jonah Hill and Michael Cera, and it's 2007 Super Bad.
Great choice.
I love Superbad. It's just this is a smart movie. It's also, not only is it funny, but it's really, really smart. And yeah, Jonah Hill, I never had seen him before. This is my introduction to him, and he is the comedy stealer in this movie. Also, Emma Stone, I was introduced to her in this movie, who's, really funny. We get to see her do some other fun stuff in comedies later on, but this, she's sort of like the flirtatious girl that Jonah Hill's
She
looking after.
appears in a movie later on for me.
Oh, cool. But yeah, this is Michael Cera and Jonah Hill. They're in high school, and they're trying to go to this party, but they want to get booze. This is rated R, very much lots of swearing, lots of inappropriateness and gestures for high school, but it is just so fun and so hilarious. And yeah, it's about being friends and best friends, and college is coming up. Are you going to go to the same school together? Plus, figuring out girls and how to deal with them, and sex and stuff like that. But also Christopher Mintz-Plasse, this is where we got to meet him, who's in Kick-Ass movie. But he is Fogel or McLevin, which is a huge name that everyone knows and loves. But yeah, Seth Rogen's also in this movie for a little bit. Bill Hader, they're both really funny as the cops. Joe Latruglio, who was on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Love that show.
Greg Mottola is the director. He
He
also did
directed. Did he direct Paul as well, the Simon Pegg film?
I'm gonna look right here. He directed Adventureland as well, The Day Trippers, which was an old school movie. Let's see, Keeping Up with the Joneses. He did some Arrested Development. He did Paul, yes.
Yes.
And yeah, looks like the last movie was Our Time, which was a TV movie, so that doesn't count. But Keeping Up with the Joneses, which is the John Hamm and Gal Gadot movie. Yeah. This you like this one?
Yes, I do. I prefer Booksmart, though, the Olivia Wilde one.
7.6 on IMDb. Budget was 20 million. Worldwide gross is 170.8 million dollars. Great for a comedy. 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, 87% audience score. Super Bad is my number three.
Yes, yes. And if you want a modern version with women, check out Booksmart.
Yeah, it's a little. That one's not as juvenile. Like there's that one's a little more serious, even though
Yeah,
it's a comedy, it has more comedy undertones. But that one, yeah, is not as dick and balls. It's not as dirty.
yeah.
All right, what's your number two?
It goes back to your number 10, and it's Blazing Saddles.
Nice.
If there is one man who should be your national treasure for comedy, it should be Mel Brooks.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
he's amazing.
I feel like what you said about the controversy. I like how it tackles racism as well, and I think that's why it's made like that. I don't think it was meant to be like this racist comedy. I think it was meant to be like trying to show people how people can be.
Mm-hmm.
We get funny moments like Mongo and the bean scene. So that's hilarious.
Yep, and
And
Madeline.
the ending just goes over the top. And you want that in a comedy movie. You just want
Yeah,
it to
yeah,
go
absolutely.
completely over the top.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gene Wilder's
Also, I mean,
great.
Gene Wilder's
And
it
and
went Charlie Chaplin, then Gene Wilder, in my opinion. Like
and
it was
and,
like
and then
the
and then
transition.
obviously the other bloke in it as well. I think his name's Cleveland something. It was meant to be Richard Pryor.
Cleavon Little, yeah.
Yeah, that was meant to be Richard Pryor originally. There's
Yep,
obviously Richard Pryor
yep.
and Gene Wilder.
Which Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor
Yes, they're a great
work
duo.
together a lot. Yeah. Slim Pickens is also in this movie. Mel
He's
Brooks
great.
plays a couple of characters.
He's
Uh,
legendary.
uh, yeah, and yeah, he's the writer director. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Spaceballs could have been there. Young Frankenstein, but to me, this is one of his greatest comedic
Yeah. I
accomplishments.
also like Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, hilarious. This is crazy. 2.6 million budget, but worldwide gross is 119.6 million. 89% on for Rotten Tomatoes, 91% for audience score. Yeah, so people, they have 7.7 on IMDb. They have personality, humor. They get the jokes. They're not trying to badger it and break it down for what it did say, but it's smart. This is smart comedy as well.
Yeah. That's why I went for ones that are funny but also smart as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Blazing Saddles. It's on my list as well for a reason because it's just hilarious. My oldest movie too. Came out in 1970.
Yeah, this is my oldest as well.
All right. Coming in at number 2 for me is the guys that I think were the ones who passed the torch to, sort of Jonah Hill and Michael Cera and the youngins. This movie is hilarious. It's very silly, but it's a lot of fun. To me, this is where I was sort of introduced into the comedy version of a couple of these guys. This movie is directed by a great comedic director named Todd Phillips. This is starring Luke Wilson, Vince Vaughn, Will Ferrell, and it's 2003's Old School.
Good choice.
Yes, I love this movie. Will Ferrell and Vince Vaughn, this is their best sort of comedic performances and the ones that we really gave them a lot of praise for. Vince Vaughn was in a lot of movies already before this, but comedically, this is where he shined, and Will Ferrell is just great. Luke Wilson, sort of the straight, has a lot of funny parts in this. But yeah, it's about three friends. They attempt to recapture their glory days by opening up a fraternity near their alma mater. We have Jeremy Piven in it, who's trying to turn this down. Ellen Pompeo's in it, who is huge from Grey's Anatomy. Leah Remini's in this. Juliette Lewis. Alicia Cuthbert.
One of my favorites as well.
Yes, she's so great. Alicia Cuthbert's in this movie. Craig Kilborn, Matt Walsh, Sean William Scott. Just a fantastic grouping of characters. I was thinking about Anchorman for a long time being in this. on my list, but if I'm gonna go Will Ferrell in anything, I go Will Ferrell in Old School.
If I had to pick
And
a Todd Phillips film, it'd be The Hangover.
yeah, The Hangovers, I was flirting with them a lot, but I just really enjoy Old School. It's a lot of fun. They play around with the kids a lot in this one too, because they have to have people who actually go to the college in their fraternity since they're too old to be in the fraternity. But yeah, it's sweet. It's hilarious. The Sean William Scott Will Ferrell scene with the dart in his neck is just so gosh darn funny. And then yeah, Vince Vaughn trying to live out a life of unmarried and having kids is also really fun. Snoop Dogg makes a little appearance in this, but yeah, my number 2 is Old School. 7.0 on IMDb, $24 million budget with 87 worldwide gross, 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, 86 for the audience. You like that one?
Yes, I do. Like I said, I prefer The Hangover, but Old School's great. I would have probably also thought about Road Trip as well, because I love Road Trip.
Yeah. All right. What is your number 1?
My number 1 is probably the darkest, but it is a very fun movie. And what I like about this movie is that it really shows the dynamic of an actor. And I'm talking about the movie that won Best Picture in 2014, Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
Wow. Yeah, not really one. It is on a lot of people's list, but not one that normally comes to mind when people think comedies. But tell us about it.
So Michael Keaton is in his plays Rigging Thompson. He's a character that's kind of similar to his career. He's played the superhero for many years called Birdman, like Keaton's played Batman for years, and he's trying to have his comeback, just like Keaton is trying to have his comeback with this movie. And he decides to do this play, and we're introduced to the world of Broadway. And this is all done in one single shot, so you get to experience the fast pace of the industry. So everything goes wrong from the first scene, because one of the actors that's injured, he hires in this actor who's Edward Norton. He's this just really massive, hard to work with. Mark Keaton also has this struggling relationship with his daughter, who's just overcoming a drug addiction. And obviously, we have Naomi Watts in this film, who completely steals the show. And we have, it's just a well-crafted movie. I know I'm technically cheating on this because it's a Mexican director, but he made this American comedy really, really well and really smart and really just dark and funny. It's just the dark side is what should make you laugh. And if you have a good dark sense of humor like I do, then you all love Birdman.
Yes, this is the Emma Stone movie you were talking about.
The more I love it. Like, when I first watched it, it started as a 4, and then my last watch, it became a 5.
Yeah, I need to watch this one again. I've only seen it the one time. Yeah, this is the Emma Stone movie you were talking about. Also, Amy Ryan's in this movie, who's always great.
Yes.
Won 4 Oscars. Do you know which 4?
Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Cinematography, I think.
That's right. Also nominated for Michael Keaton, Edward Norton, Emma Stone, sound editing and sound mixing, which are now the same.
I also love a little drum beat.
Yeah, there's drums every second of this movie. I need to see it again to give it a proper love, but I know I really enjoyed it the first time that I watched it. And the feed in itself being a quote unquote one take movie is amazing, and because of how carefully they rehearsed, the editing process was only like 2 weeks long instead of like 6-8 months. 7.7 on IMDb. Big movie though. $18 million was the budget. 103.2 is its overall worldwide gross. 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, 78% audience.
Not many comedies have won Best Picture, but the ones I've seen, that's the best comedy to win Best Picture.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you don't get a lot of comedian performances being nominated for Best actor, supporting actor, actress, supporting actress. But yeah, Melissa McCarthy snuck in there. All right.
Is your number one a Jim
Um,
Carrey movie by any chance?
yes, it is. It's definitely a Jim Carrey movie. It's my favorite Jim Carrey
And is
movie.
it directed
Um,
by Peter and Bobby Farley?
it sure is. Yeah, this is my all-time favorite comedic performance because it's not just one character, it's two characters, and
Ooh,
that's because Jim Carrey plays Hank and Charlie in the movie Me, Myself, and Irene
great
because he's
choice.
schizophrenic.
Great choice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just my favorite. Like, this is my favorite comedy movie of all time. It's just brilliant when it comes to just seeing a performance by an actor, a comedic actor who can do two different characters in the same breath, pretty much, in some scenes, which is just incredible. But yeah, he plays Charlie, who's married, has some kids. It turns out the kids are black. That means his wife cheated on him, and so she leaves him, but leaves him with the kids, and the kids grow up in a sort of a Richard Pryor, Chris
The
Rock household. So
the the
not
the
only are
the, the bloke who plays liver driver Tony Cox, he's hilarious.
yeah, it's so funny. Oh, she'll be eating blubber, all right, just as soon as I free Willy. Uh, just so funny. But yeah, so he keeps the kids even though he knows they're not his.
They love him
And
though.
they love him, and yeah, it becomes a very rated R household. But they're the smartest kids in the world. Like, they make fun of each other by saying how stupidly smart they are. Like, you think calculus is a goddamn emperor.
My
Like stuff
favorite
like
is Anthony Anderson's one.
yeah, Anthony Anderson's so funny in this movie as well. But we also have legendary actors. Speaking of Richard Jenkins earlier, but also Chris Cooper, Robert Forster's in this movie. You mentioned Tony Cox, but Renee Zellweger's in this movie, Academy Award
He's
winner.
amazing.
Yeah, and yeah, directed by the Farrelly brothers, who are comedic geniuses in my opinion. But Jim Carrey being Hank and Charlie, yeah, like I said, that happens. He becomes schizophrenic because he's always being stepped on, and he becomes the jerk. The asshole that he should be back to these people, and he does it so funny. He you know, becomes like a different person, even though it's him. And yeah, hilarity just ensues. There's a cow in this movie. There's an albino guy who he calls a giant Q-tip. It's just insane, fun, crazy stuff. But yeah, this is a hilarious movie. If you
Great choice.
haven't seen it, please go check it out. It's
I've
my number
seen
one.
it twice.
Yeah, I could have had Ace Ventura on there. I could have had Dumb and Dumber, but Me, Myself, and Irene to me is the best because it's two characters that are iconic. $51 million was its budget. 149.2 million was its worldwide gross. 6.6 on IMDb. However, Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 48%, and the audience score is 57. Came out in the year 2000. Good stuff, though.
Great choice. Great choice.
With some also-rans. Christmas Vacation is one of my all-time favorite comedies, but I couldn't put that on there because I talk about too much. Friday, I talk about too much. Anchorman, I really enjoyed, but I wanted to put Old School on there. Wedding Crashers, I love, but I wanted to put Old School on there. And I talk about it too much, but what for sure would have been on the list, couldn't leave out Robin Williams, but Mrs. Doubtfire for sure would have been on my list, but I just talk about it too much.
Yes. Yes, and I honorable mentions for me, The Hangover, Don't Look Up, Palm Springs, and unpopular opinion, but I like The Bubble.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Good comedies on there. There's loads I missed out on because obviously it who was developing this list. And thank you, Justin, for not putting any Woody Allen movies on the list.
Yeah, you're welcome. No. Dodgeball is also fantastic.
Yes,
The 40
Dodgeball would have been one of them as well.
the 40-Year-Old Virgin. I know people love Zoolander, but I hate it.
I've not seen Zoolander for years. I might have I'll have to watch it. I like how it takes a piss out of the fashion industry, but you're right, it is a bit too silly.
Birdcage is hilarious. Stripes, scary movie. Yeah, Knocked Up. All right, good stuff. What is your recommendation?
You want to run down the list first?
Oh yeah, let's run them down. All right, what's your number 10?
When Harry Met Sally.
My number 10 is Blazing Saddles.
My number 9 is Little Miss Sunshine.
I have School of Rock in that slot.
My number 8 is Happy Gilmore.
Which I have its cohort, Billy Madison.
My number 7 is Deadpool.
My number 7 was Mean Girls.
My number 6 is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Good choice. I have Tommy Boy in my number 6.
My number 5 is Step Brothers.
My number 5 is an all-time classic, Caddyshack.
My number 4 is my favorite animated film of all time, Monsters, Inc.
My number 4 is another woman-led movie, Bridesmaids.
My number 3 is a tie between these two classics from 1998, The Big Lebowski and Rushmore.
My number 3 is Superbad.
My number 2 is Blazing Saddles, your number 10.
My number 2 is Old School.
My number 1 is Birdman.
And my number 1 is Me, Myself, and Irene.
Good list.
Good stuff. All right. You have a recommendation for this week, or you want me to say it? Go first?
You go first. I'll think of a good one.
All right. I just watched this movie today, and I highly recommend it. I believe it's $6 to rent. To me, that's worth it. It is a short comedy movie. Could have been talked about last week had I seen it for British comedies. This one came out just this year, though, and it's called Brian and Charles.
Ooh,
this is a movie where a guy lives by himself in this town, and he's an inventor. He likes to just kind of create things, and this is sort of shot documentary style, where it's just the team and him, and then he builds a robot named Charles, and Charles talks and does things and is just a delight. This movie is very, very charming, has a lot of heart. The ending's really sweet and tugs at the heartstrings, and it was a little breath of fresh air this year, because I feel like movies have been kind of a little all over the place, but it was good. Brian and Charles, very easy watch, goes down smooth.
Yes, definitely. Let's see, a good recommendation for me. I'm going to go with a Disney classic because I've been watching it, because it technically counts as a Marvel film, so I'm going to do it in next time's Marvel Mondays, and it's Big Hero 6.
Ooh, I need to see this one again. Tell me about it.
So, Hero and his brother live with his aunt, and they're both geniuses, and his brother invents this robot called Baymax, this lovable robot who has this power of helping you with healthcare. Unfortunately, there's an accident, and the brother dies, and Hero and Baymax are trying to stop this evil villain from destroying the town they live in, and it's San Fran, Tokyo, which is a mix between San Francisco and Tokyo. Baymax is one of the most iconic Disney characters to come out in the last 10 years, and I loved this series this year, and I had a great time rewatching Big Hero 6. I remember why it's one of Disney's best in the last 10 years, and that's why I recommend it. It might not be Zootropolis, but Big Hero 6 still has a place in my heart as one of the best.
And for those of you out there who didn't understand what he just said, it's Zootopia.
And what's Die Hard 4 to you again?
Live Free or Die Hard.
Yes. And what's that British comedy movie with Philip Seymour Hoffman where he's a DJ on a boat?
Pirate Radio.
No, that movie's called The Boat That Rocked.
What's the first Harry Potter called?
The Philosopher's Stone.
Sorcerer's Stone. Yes.
We can go all day with this.
So you're liking the Baymax TV show?
Yes, I've seen it all.
Cool. Yeah, I need to recheck that one out for sure. Cool. Yeah, well, this is a jam-packed episode. Obviously, we're a little bit longer than an hour, but we wanted to talk 10 movies each, and I believe we've done a good job. Only one crossover, which means we talked about 20 brand new films.
20 at the Lee.
Well,
I have the tie.
Oh, yeah, 21, yeah, because you had the tie. Yeah, lots of good comedies in there. What are your favorite comedies? You tell us down there in the comment section.
Of America, we talked about British. I don't really want to do international comedies, so I'm not seeing enough of them.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll move on to a different topic next week. But yeah, if you have topic ideas, tell us down in the comments. Subscribe to Rob's YouTube here.
Yes. We've just announced the Logie Bard Awards, me and Chris Hyde did, but we're doing a new video because the sound editing wasn't that good.
For what?
The John Logie Baird Awards. It's our new TV awards. I think you voted on it.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, they'll check that out when it's available. And where else can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, or at my website, robbiesreviews.co.uk, and also on TikTok, where tomorrow I'm going to be ranking down the films I saw in August.
Ooh, nice. That's good. Yeah, I'm at Worth of You Movies on all the things. Go check it out. Every platform has something fresh and new daily.
And also to whoever's watching this, please do not watch Me Time.
You don't want people to watch the new Mark Wahlberg and Kevin Hart film?
Yeah, I'm not happy with Kevin Hart this year.
Did you see
both of his films? The DC Pets is fine. It's just his two Netflix movies were awful.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed DC League of Super Pets. More towards the end than I liked the beginning. But yeah, it was pretty good. Better than Paws of Fury. So
I'm not saying Paws of Fury, but that's a remake of our joint entry on today's list.
What?
Blazing Saddles.
What?
Yeah, Paws of Fury is a remake of Blazing Saddles.
Is it?
Yep.
I don't know about that. It seems to me more like Kung Fu Panda. But
I need to rewatch some movies.
Kung Fu, yeah, hell yeah. Cool. All right, thanks everybody for viewing, and we'll talk to you soon. Until next time.
Until next time. Bye, Justin.
Hey, Rob. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.